I'm above average.
So anime about humans and robots coexisting's been around for a while. From things like Ghost in the Shell, where a cyborg contemplates her life, to Ergo Proxy, where robots are infected with a virus that gives them a soul. And when watching these kind of shows, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the world building and art style. And the world of Metropolis is fucking beautiful. The city of Metropolis is split into 3 layers, the bottom 2 mostly consisting of power plants and garbage disposal, which are ran by mostly robot workers. See, in this city, robots are discriminated against, as most humans are unemployed and living in poverty, and they blame the robots for taking their jobs. The city's unofficial leader is named Duke Red, a man loved by most of his people, who's secretly doing some pretty shady stuff. First off, he's the creator of an anti-robot paramilitary called the Mardukes that go around keeping the robots in check and looking for any reason to shoot them. It's led by his adopted son, who we'll talk about later. Duke Red's also got another secret, a project going on with a shady evil scientist called Dr. Lawton, who's wanted by the police for organ trafficking. He uses human organs in his experiments. See, Duke Red had a daughter who died, and so he wants to make an advanced robot resembling her, employing Dr. Lawton to create her. The movie's full of these secrets and ulterior motives, which help to show us how fucked up the city of Metropolis really is. And with so much going on, it's important to have a solid cast of characters, and the movie doesn't miss. Kenichi's a boy from Japan who comes to Metropolis with his uncle, who's a private investigator, to arrest Dr. Lawton, the mad scientist. Kenichi's the good character. He goes around making friends with the robots and helping people. When shit goes down, he ends up wrapped up in Duke Red's schemes and goes on the run with a robot modeled after his daughter, which we talked about earlier. He's got a strong set of morals and does what he thinks is right, even when it involves him almost dying. For example, there's this big ass fire and he sees someone moving inside of it, and so he runs in and almost ends up getting barbecued. Also, towards the end of the movie, he almost gets shot, falls to his death, gets electrocuted. My guy's honestly just a crash dummy. Tima's the robot girl that's created by Duke Red to not only fill the role of his dead child, but also to activate a secret military weapon which would make Metropolis the most powerful city in the world. She's a robot, but she doesn't know it, so she goes around thinking that she's just a natural human. When she was activated, she couldn't communicate whatsoever. However, through her interactions with Kenichi, she slowly learns to talk and even develop strong feelings towards him, going crazy when the two are separated. She's the usual, overpowered character with a higher purpose that has no idea what the fuck's going on. And it's a plot device which I like a lot, but only when it's done right. When Tima gets shot and sees that inside of her she's really just made out of circuits, it hits her that she actually is a robot, and she flips her shit, going insane and bringing down a nuke on humanity as punishment for their abuse of robots. Tima's a character you can't help but feel bad for. Picture this, you wake up and don't know what's going on, and some big-nosed weirdo tells you that you're a robot and destined to rule the world. Throughout the entire movie, she battles with her own humanity while getting chased down by a simp assassin who only wants to kill her because his father, Duke Red, sees her as family more than him. Speaking of which, Rock is easily the worst character in the entire movie. He's the adoptive son of Duke Red, who leads the anti-robot military, like I said earlier. When he finds out that Tima exists, jealousy hits him and he tries his hardest to shoot and kill her. This fails because he's a dumbass, and so he spends the rest of the runtime plotting different ways to get rid of her, eventually causing the end of the fucking world just because of how badly he needed his father's validation. He's emotionally fucked, lacking empathy, and incredibly possessive and delusional. He also despises robots, seeing them as worthless and dangerous. He's a robot racist. It's so bad that when him and his father are cornered by robots, he's disgusted by the fact that filthy robots would kill his father, so he sets off a massive explosion, killing both of them in a murder-suicide instead. Oh yeah, this was all after he was disowned by his father and removed as the leader of the Mardukes. The movie spends a good amount of its almost 2-hour runtime building its characters and world, like a lot of time. So much that it kinda gets old. You start off not knowing what to expect, and then you get to know the characters, and then you keep getting to know them, and then you keep getting to know them. And then shit goes crazy and the movie turns into a 10 out of 10 in the last 15 minutes. Here's a graph of my enjoyment throughout it. It feels a little padded, like it starts dragging a good amount in the middle, and while at its worst, it's still a great movie, it just kinda ruins the flow of it. Sitting through the boring aspects is made easier by the fact that it's one of the most beautiful pieces of animation that I've ever seen. I was kind of initially thrown off by the Mega Man looking characters, but I quickly got over it because of just how diverse they are. Like, every character is drawn with their purpose in mind. Kenichi and Tima look like good innocent kids, while Rock looks like an edgelord with daddy issues, which he is. From the starting scene, we get to see a display of just how nice the city of Metropolis looks. The city design changes from these bougie ass buildings shining in gold to the rundown second and third floors, showing us the income disparity. From the rundown back alleys to the evil looking futuristic technology shit, it all just gives you an eye orgasm just by looking at it. This was also only made in the early 2000s, and it's got this old movie finesse to it, which makes you feel like a fucking hipster watching it, but in a good way. The music slaps too, and instead of me telling you about it, just pay attention to the background music of this video and see if you mess with it. What the movie lacks in constant attention seeking, it makes up for with its content. The plots and the subplots all wrap around each other, and when one ends, it feeds into the others. For example, Dukered's the city's unofficial leader, and while publicly he doesn't claim to want any power, in secret he's a power-hungry and emotionless man. When a group of laborers are fed up with the years of mistreatment, they form a militia against him, turning the city into a war zone. The president and the mayor of Metropolis plan to take this opportunity to move against Red, wanting him out of the picture. But unluckily for them, the leader of Metropolis's military sided with Duke Red, and so he shoots the two of them dead. The movie's full of these interesting concepts to pay attention to, like the discrimination of the robots, Tima learning to act like a human, and even the politics going on inside the imaginary city. So another thing I don't really like is some of the action in the movie. When someone gets shot or dies, the scene just changes, or we cut away to something else. It's some Disney Channel PG-13 shit. But it's not that bad, because the most interesting action in the entire movie is actually at the end, where the person getting fucked up isn't human at all. We get to see Tima get horribly disfigured, transforming from this cute innocent looking child to a grotesque looking robot monster thing. Combine that with the animation which I praised earlier, and you've got one of the coolest looking character designs I've ever seen. So to wrap things up, if you want a 2-hour experience which feels like everything in it had a good amount of thought put into it, mixed with a good story that I pretty much guarantee most of your friends haven't seen, give Metropolis a watch. That is if you still want to watch it after I've spoiled most of it. I get fucked, stupid bitch.
Posted, but I'm floating in my head. I done mixed the red, blacks, purples in that red. Damn, I'm about to take off like jet. Posted like I'm chilling, but I'm floating in my head. Take off, posted like a nose. Yes, sir. Shades on, cause my eyes on comatose. In my head, I'm floating like a ghost.